Well, the time has finally come with Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain now officially open. The energy couldn't be higher here at the Whistler Village Gondola. So on today's show, we're talking to mountain staff on what it took to open up the mountain and also some exciting lessons being offered as well. On today's show, we're also being a bit creative. So we'll tell you about a peculiar event here along the Sea to Sky, bring creative minds together. And we'll also take a first-hand look at one of BC's largest indie marketplaces. So let's go. I'm joined today by Emily Wright, Communications Coordinator for Whistler Blackcomb. Very busy, Emily.
Yeah, we're looking good so far, for sure.
For sure. Awesome scene here, a regular day at Whistler Blackcomb, but you guys have been in operation for about 2 weeks or so now.
We actually opened last Thursday on the 19th, so yeah, we're doing really well so far. We opened a week early, so everyone's really excited about that. There was a lot of anticipation about the season coming up, so yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's so fun. Even starting back in September, people start talking about, I wonder when the mountain's going to open, and the anticipation starts. Yeah. November 19th, you open, as you mentioned. What led to that opening, that day or that week? How it all come together?
Operations basically has everything planned out, and whenever they decide that everything's ready, then basically they throw that out, and we wanted to open a week early. We were originally scheduled for November 26th, so yeah, we didn't want to be any later than that. So
you guys keep the suspense. It's on to the morning of, you announce it, and it's become an event in itself. Tell us about the opening day. How big was this year's event?
Absolutely. People were lined up both at the Creekside Gondola and the Whistler Village Gondola from about 5 a.m. So yeah, there's lineups for hours before the lift starts running at 8:30. So people are very excited to get back on the slopes because they've been off them for so long.
Yeah, and you see all different types. The young kids camp out for 2 days beforehand, which is crazy. In my mind, I was seeing that, you've got so many days to ski up there. Why do some people get so into, do you think, and line up to 2 days beforehand? What is it about opening day?
It's just the excitement that's building and the anticipation to get back on the ski hill. Yeah. People have been off it for so long since, well, if they were riding the glacier, then it would have been like 4 months. So it's just nice to be back on the hill, and I think people get really excited about that.
For sure. I'm sure you're heading the hill after this interview.
Yeah.
So free passes.
I'll go for a couple runs.
Yeah. Another exciting thing, let's talk about this year's conditions. You mentioned, where are we at right now on the hill compared to last year?
Conditions are looking amazing so far compared to last year. We're already 30 centimeters ahead of November's entire snowfall last year, so everything's looking really good. Mother Nature so far has delivered.
For sure. It's probably hard for you guys. You don't quite know what she's going to deliver till leading up to that, so it must have been a relief.
So. Yeah, a bit of a relief, but we do have our snowmaking team, which is very extensive. We have about 270 snow guns, so we have a great infrastructure to support that if Mother Nature doesn't deliver. So
for sure. As Emily mentioned, we're going to talk more about those snowmaking machines later on in the show, tell you about what goes on behind the scenes to get the mountain ready for the season. But starting off the show, let's start off on a creative note. As you know, Whistler houses many artists here in town, and judging by one annual event, it's only getting bigger.
I've always been a creative person. Growing up, I was always into many different projects. Anything I could get my hands on, I would tear apart.
Fast forward over 2 decades later, and turns out Whistler artist Terry Gurkovich is still using those very hands to collect and turn everyday materials, such as this part of a picture frame, into beautiful pieces of art. Only now she's getting paid to do it.
I love thrift hunting. It's like hunting for treasure, so naturally it evolved into making jewelry and clothing. This is a early 1950s pendant from the Middle East, and they were actually worn by tribesmen. A lot of them were actually different like talismans or earrings that I've, kind of cut up and reworked into pendants.
These vintage pendants and toques, just some of the other pieces Terry makes here in her home studio to sell throughout the Sea to Sky corridor. The space may be small, the hours at times long, but it's now a full-time job this Aussie native wouldn't have any other way.
Being creative for me is really important. Most creative people say they need an outlet, and for me, I really need an outlet to kind of get that crazy out.
And turns out she isn't alone.
I love being creative. If I haven't been in a gallery in a while, it really starts to eat at me. I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
For artist Kylie Miller, it's here at the Whistler pop-up studio she feels most alive.
It's where I can just be myself. I have no other worries.
As a mixed medium artist, Miller uses wood burning along with wax paint to create her coastal-inspired wood plank pieces.
I burn in my design, and then after that I'll either paint it with acrylic or I'll do encaustic, which is a wax-based medium. I'm carving away at the wax that I've already put on top so that the imagery underneath kind of shines through a little bit more. This piece has probably taken me about 8 hours, but the carving usually is really relaxing, so I don't really notice.
And come November 28th and 29th, the public will be taking notice as well.
Ybarra is the Whistler Arts Council's annual holiday artisan market. It takes place every year at the Whistler Conference Center.
With Terry and Kylie among the over 100 artists and artisans taking part in this year's event, along with being a great place for people to browse and buy both dazzling and delicious pieces of work by local vendors, it's also a chance for the artists themselves to celebrate the ever-expanding number of creative minds along the Sea to Sky corridor.
The artists are so much fun. We have so many artisans in Whistler. I really enjoy the atmosphere there. There's really something for everyone.
There's so many great artisans, not just making artwork, but like food products and things like that. So I just thought it would be a great place to see how much interest would be in my work.
With Bazaar Bazaar, one of the many Sea to Sky art shows getting bigger and better every year, it's this side of artists turning passion into a profession that these women are happy to see more and more people become a part of.
You're following your passion rather than trying to get a fast buck.
More and more people are really waking up to really putting their passion and their dreams or their energy into something that, they can make a living out of. In Whistler, we really support one another to go for it.
Along with professional artists, this year's 27th annual Bazaar Bazaar will also feature food vendors, live entertainment, and a new thing this year, they're going to have over 30 youth artists showing off their work as well in the foyer, so it should make for a great show. Well, speaking of great shows, the lineup is continuing. It's crazy in here, Emily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's looking really great.
It's awesome. So let's talk about, it's always interesting how you actually get the mountain ready for the season.
Right.
Tell us what goes into it and, when the process starts.
Right, so we probably start kicking up for the season at the beginning of November. That's when the temperatures start dropping and natural snowfall actually starts sticking to the mountain. So we wait until it's about -2 degrees to be able to make snow. So that's when the snowmakers start working around the clock to get the appropriate runs open for you guys. And snowmakers and groomers work 24 hours a day pretty much until we open, and then they start once the operating hours close. They're here overnight
Around the clock.
until 8:30 when you guys head up the mountain.
Insane. And what was the feeling this year, though, not knowing what the conditions were going to be for this winter? I bet at the start of every season, is there kind of nervousness come November, not sure what's going to happen?
Lots of anticipation for sure, but we do have the infrastructure to support if the natural snowfall doesn't come through. So yeah, as I said, there's a huge snowmaking team, 270 snow guns ready to pump full speed.
Yeah, so talk about that process. I'm new to Whistler, so I'm never quite sure how exactly they make snow. I've always wondered, but you're mentioning it's pumped from creeks? Like, how does that work?
We do have a couple ponds up at the top of both mountains, so we have our own non-potable water sources that feeds into the snow guns, and we've already pumped about 38 million gallons of water into snow so far this year, so they're doing really well working around the clock.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And you're mentioning off camera some of your staff, but although made snow from machines isn't probably as good as natural snow, it still makes for good conditions, right? Like last year, you're even able to make do.
Absolutely, it really helps with the overall coverage. Obviously, there's no beating a natural powder day, but yeah, snowmaking is a really good way to ensure a great product for our guests.
Okay, well, speaking of snowboarding and skiing, pretty soon I'm going to be one of these powder hounds heading up the mountain. To kick off our 6-part series, we headed to Surefoot to find the perfect boots. Here at Surefoot, the boot fitting process starts the minute you walk in the door. Hey, Sam.
Hi, Vanessa. Welcome to Surefoot.
Thanks.
Are you ready to get your Surefoot custom ski boots?
Yeah, let's do this.
The fitting process at Surefoot is essentially a three-step process. We start by taking a digital scan of the foot. So Vanessa, what we're going to start with is just taking some length and width measurements of your foot.
After measuring and inputting my data into the system, Sam then places my feet on top of 500 little pins. Oh, tickles. Which together create a mold of each foot that will be used to build custom insoles, with no feet too difficult for this boot fitter.
Surefoot as a company has scanned close to 1.7 million feet. So we've seen everything, from small bunions to different foot lengths to just hypersensitive feet. Getting the boots made properly to your foot shape in that neutral position is the most important thing. Now that your foot's been scanned, we come into the back here, and we simply pull it up off the internet.
Sam then carefully placing each insole onto a milling board where it's loaded, cut, and finally smoothed over to ensure the insole is exact replica of the customer's feet.
Having a boot that fits properly, comfortably, and skis to its best potential is really a benefit to everybody, whether you be an absolute beginner skier or the best skier in the world. It's going to help you stay longer on the hill, have a better day. It's going to help you learn how to ski more easily.
And then comes the best part, picking the boots.
This Nordica boot matches up really well with your foot shape. The performance level of the boot will help you ski as well as you can out there. Proper socks are a pivotal part. You have to make sure you're wearing a thin, well-fitted, wicking sock. Make sure you're going to be as warm and as comfortable as possible.
With my feet already feeling nice and comfortable, it's time for the third and final step. It's like a science experiment here.
That's pretty cool, eh?
Mixing two liquid solutions together, Sam creates and then pumps foam into my custom boot liners to make them that much more comfortable and easy to wear.
Almost done, Vanessa. You're doing great.
And while the process of finding the perfect boot fit may seem like a long and detailed one, for this ski lover, being able to help novices such as myself start off on the right foot makes it all worth it.
To go out and not have to worry about their foot moving around in their ski boot, or when their ski instructor says, I need you to lean forward and go down the hill this way, they're able to do that because they have the control, and with that control they get confidence. Up until really the early 2000s, to get a boot that fits you very, very well, it was a difficult thing to do. Nowadays, you can come in within an hour and a half, you're skiing on a boot that's exactly the shape of your foot.
Oh, these feel awesome. The main thing, the toes can wiggle, so.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Sam.
My pleasure. Go enjoy the hill.
After the break,
Refresh Market is a collection of 114 vendors.
it was a line for miles once again at this year's Refresh Market. We stopped by to see what the craze is all about. Welcome back from the break. On today's show, we're celebrating the start of the season here at Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain. And it's not quite winter, but you wouldn't know by the looks of it. Things are gearing up, and the man sitting next to me is Russ, General Manager of Whistler Blackcomb. Russ, let's talk about, if you're not a novice skier, snowboarder heading up today, you offer lessons, of course, every year. Give us a general scope of what you offer.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? We offer group lessons to private lessons, all ages, all abilities, and I would say from ages 3 to 93, we can take care of anybody who wants to get up on the mountain.
Not 94, 93.
No, not 94.
Stop at that.
Yeah.
So give us an idea. You offer an awesome kids adventure camp to start that pairs with also the adult camps. How does that work?
Yeah, so we have for our multi-day programs, for kids, we have what's called the adventure camp. It starts every Monday and goes through to Friday, and they have the same instructor, and the kids have a great time skiing both mountains. And then at the same time, the adults can take the camp, and that starts on Monday and goes to Thursday. And those two programs are coordinated, so drop-off times are similar, and both the parents and the kids can get into lessons.
Awesome. And how much more popular are those becoming? Do we see a lot of Whistler locals even sharpening their skills every few years, or mainly just visitors?
Yeah, you know what, we cater to everybody. We cater to the locals. We have actually great pass holder programs for our local people, but then obviously the destination people often want to take a lesson. And a lesson is more than what you used to think about it 20 years ago, where you stand on the side of a hill. We really try to make sure that people have a great time and experience the mountains.
Right, yeah. How have they improved? What do you guys offer when it comes to up there, like the different ways you teach? Say?
Yeah, well, I would just say that, you know, we really try to take the whole experience into account here at Whistler Blackcomb. So we're really trying to make sure we move around the mountain and cater to the needs of who's in front of us.
And prove that anyone can learn, right?
Exactly.
That's all I'll learn later on.
Anybody
for sure.
can do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now, tell us about the process. So I noticed it's kind of cool. You can go online even on your website, and you almost take like a quiz to start to test what your ability is.
Yep.
Tell us how that works.
Yeah, for sure. We have a few tools online. So we have what we call the lesson picker. So you can go online and put in your age and how many days you want to ski and what day you start, and that'll narrow down your product you want to pick. But then we also have our ability chart online, which will kind of tell you what ability you should be starting at. So both of those are good tools online.
Okay, and people should keep checking online, I guess, for new lessons being offered, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, thanks for joining me, Russ.
Thank you.
Yeah, get up on the mountain.
Right on.
All right, well, so to our third story of the day here on the show. As you know, Refresh Market has become one of the biggest events here in Squamish. So we went to check out firsthand what all the craze is all about. It's no secret us Sea to Skiers love quality handmade goods, which is why it isn't surprising this is a scene once again at this year's Refresh Market. So what made you come out to the event today?
We just moved to Squamish and we're going to look at getting some Christmas presents, me and my wife here.
Well, I heard great things about Refresh and we wanted to come check it out, get here early. I'm not sure if we're early enough.
These ladies certainly were. This blanketed crew was the first to line up at 7 a.m., all in a quest to buy the perfect Christmas gift, or just a little something for themselves.
There's a lot of homemade food that you can get, and there's a lot of different homemade jewelry that I think is really nice to wear. Yeah.
My mom's working here and I'm just helping her.
We're recently moved to Squamish, so it's nice to support local as well, and of course a good swag bag is always a beautiful thing.
Excitement bursting at the seams, the day's first shoppers begin to file into the West Coast Railway Museum that's suddenly been transformed into a magical holiday haven, with this event remaining Squamish's largest indie marketplace.
Refresh Market is a collection of actually 114 vendors. We have vendors that come from Agassiz as far as Pemberton. We actually have a lot of them from Vancouver Island as well. And they come together for an amazing day of shopping.
Why they need to bring this to Squamish?
For people who live here, it gives the opportunity for them to come and check out all this really great quality, locally designed and made stuff without having to leave town.
Seekers from across the Sea to Sky and Lower Mainland also flock to the holiday event to browse and buy a wide variety of one-of-a-kind items, from fresh oils, ceramic pottery, and children's wear, to West Coast paintings, soaps, and chocolate. The amount of goods to try on and taste was endless. These unique lemon squares going especially fast. Tell us what your company you have. You could smell the lemon coming off of your booth.
Yeah, well, we have a lemon square, and that's our only product. It's kind of a spin on the traditional lemon square, so it's not a lemon curd. It's a lemon coconut square with lemon zest frosting on the top. It's a bit of a different taste.
What is it about people wanting to buy more quality goods? We're seeing so many people supporting local. What do you think is the reason?
I think there's just more and more of a push to eat from around where you're from, like support local producers. The community is just poured out today.
Everyone's lining up for your bar, so I need to try one. Oh, it's so good. It tastes healthy.
Oh, thank you very much.
As healthy as a dessert could be.
Exactly.
For this Salt Spring Island jewelry designer, she too prefers to keep her selection simple, yet beautiful.
I try and create pieces that are great to wear every day. I myself don't like to have a lot of jewelry, so stuff that I can sleep in, bathe in.
And of course, they're all handmade by yourself, as are many goods we have here today. What is it about handmade items that more people are choosing to buy? What makes them so special?
I think the fact that it's handcrafted, it's made by the person you're buying it from. It's locally sourced. It's not made in a factory, often somewhere else in the world.
Well, there's definitely love in it, and I think that's what you can feel when you purchase something. Is people have put so much passion and love into their work, and it's quality as well.
With more than 1,500 people of all ages and places coming out to this year's winter event, it's obvious this market and love of shopping local is here to stay.
I really think it's fantastic. You get lots of local vendors that have come down from the city and also from up here. It's great.
I like it a lot.
It's been pretty great. Great music, woodwork, ceramics. That's more the stuff that I'm into. So far, so good. We'll be back next year.
Along with offering awesome handmade goods, Refresh Market has also raised over $4,000 for local charities, so great to see. Okay, well, speaking of charities, be sure to also watch the Timmy's Christmas Telethon that's happening right here on Shaw TV Channel 4 on December 6th. It's all for a great cause to raise money for children with disabilities. It's happening from 6 until 10 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. Okay, well, along with Whistler having some of the best gondolas in North America, did you also know there's one here at the resort that's responsible for cutting its emissions by 70%? In this next story, we meet the man behind the project. On a beautiful fall Monday morning such as this, heading into the office can feel like an even harder feat. That is unless you're Arthur DeYoung.
I don't think it ever loses me on any day that I have one of the most, if not the most privileged office space in the world.
That's because Arthur's typical day at the office begins by jumping in his truck before setting off to explore the place he's called home for well over 30 years. However, Arthur isn't your typical mountain planner.
To really break it down, what I'm doing is integrating environmental value with economic value. On a day-to-day basis, I spend a lot of time out on our landforms. I really like to get out of the truck. You have to have your feet on the ground and understand the ecosystems.
As also Whistler Blackcomb's environmental resource manager, this man's focus is just as much on finding ways to reduce the resort's carbon footprint as it is to increase economic growth.
Our goal ultimately is to become the first large tourism operator with a zero operating footprint.
As part of this, Arthur spends most of his days exploring and studying the area's creeks, forests, and meadows on a daily basis to come up with innovative ways on how these natural resources can help create cleaner systems for the resort. With the Outdoorsman today checking up on the Symphony Express chairlift, one of Whistler Blackcomb's proudest sustainability projects built in collaboration with professional foresters, biologists, water specialists, and more in 2006.
We built an experience inside an ecosystem as opposed to changing it. We just removed enough trees to be able to sneak one groomer width through, as opposed to on the Seventh Heaven side, the runs are 50, 60 meters wide.
In total, the team only cleared 5% of the area's trees as opposed to the standard 40%. In 2008, Whistler Blackcomb was awarded 2 levels of recognition by the UN for the project, inspiring this environmental advocate to do even more.
Global tourism represents about 8-9% of the global economy. If we can inspire that entire sector, then we're really going to be a positive influencer.
As part of this, the resort also built a micro hydro system in Fitzsimmons Creek that produces enough power to match what the resort uses in a year. This past summer, Arthur was one of 50 Canadians handed the Clean 50 Award, celebrating his achievement in helping the resort cut down on 70% of its emissions since 2000. As always, this industry leader remains humble.
The only reason why I'm being recognized is because of the great team that I'm surrounded by within Whistler Blackcomb and this community, which I so love.
For Arthur, the true payoff is being able to work in such a tranquil setting while at the same time help making the world a greener place. However, with climate change remaining a global threat, there's always more that can be done. And if there's any town to rise to the challenge, it's Whistler.
We have the capacity, we have the community behind us, we have the intellectual capacity, we have the financial means. I think this is what we need to be doing. It is our role.
Okay, I'm back here with Emily. Emily, we talked about everything when it comes to opening up the mountain and everything, but you've got an awesome contest you want to plug. Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, well, we're looking actually for a GoPro ambassador right now. So we're looking for creative GoPro users who are just up on the mountain, and you get a free season's pass. The way that that works is that you just use the hashtag WBGoPro on any of our social channels, and the deadline for that is December 8th. And it's a chance to get a free season's pass, so why not?
Make use of your GoPro, right? But everyone's got one on their helmet pretty much here, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of passes, of course, it's just the start of the season. Where can people go if they want to still buy one?
WhistlerBlackcomb.com, you can always buy them on there, or any guest services agent on the mountain.
Okay, well, should be a great season.
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much,
joining
Vanessa.
me.
See ya.
All right, well, that's it for our show, of course. Also, send us your pictures up on the mountain. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, you can view all of our stories we've done up on the mountain as well on our YouTube channel. It's in HD. Just visit the link on the bottom of your screen. Until next time, I'm Vanessa Ybarra.